Good evening. This is CTV News for Tuesday, January 12th. I'm Denise Douglas.
And I'm Byron Scott. Thank you for joining us tonight. Well, a day before state lawmakers convene for the 2016 General Assembly session, Democrats hold their annual legislative gathering in Annapolis. Patricia Vallone standing by with a preview of the party's agenda.
It's a packed house here at the Democratic Party luncheon as legislative leaders get ready for the next 90-day session. There seems to be a general consensus as to what the top issues are for this session.
Listen, this governor campaigned on eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse. K through 12 is not waste. Higher education is not fraud, and taking our Chesapeake Bay and protecting it is not abuse.
Getting the hospital funded through the CNN process and CON process, and getting that done is number one for us.
For the county, we need to make sure we get our fair share of funding for the hospital, for our schools, for the FBI interchange. All of those things are really important for us to get.
Getting those monies released. Right? I serve on the Appropriations Committee. We worked very diligently last session to ensure that the dollars due to all the counties were allocated. So we just need to work on this session, doing the same, and then finding a way to get those dollars released.
Now, as mentioned, the legislative session starts tomorrow at noon. It ends on April 11th. From Annapolis, I'm Patricia Vallone, CTV News.
Well, Governor Larry Hogan releases details on his $480 million tax relief package for the 2016 legislative session. At a state press conference in Annapolis today, Hogan announced that the measures target retirees, small businesses, and working families. The Republican governor says the legislation would provide relief for families making less than $53,000 a year through a bump in the earned income tax credit. He says he'll also pursue increase in the personal tax exemption for seniors to $5,000 to be phased in over 4 years.
In an effort to entice manufacturing businesses back to Maryland, and in order to address the chronic unemployment in the hardest hit parts of our state, we will introduce a manufacturing jobs initiative, which will, in certain circumstances, enable us to eliminate the corporate tax and to waive all state taxes on certain new companies who commit to bringing in a certain number of jobs into our most troubled areas of the state where unemployment is the highest.
Hogan also wants to cut the annual business filing fee from $300 to $100 by a reduction of $50 over 4 years.
And last year, a Maryland legislative panel was tasked with examining police practices statewide and making recommendations on how to make improvements. Well, the Public Policy and Policing Work Group has submitted its list of proposals to leaders in the House and Senate. Among the 21 recommendations, police officers would have to undergo periodic psychological evaluations. Residents will also would have more time to file brutality complaints, and it cuts in half the so-called 10-day rule, which gives officers 10 days to get a lawyer before being forced to cooperate with an investigation.
And the others deal with how we get more community input and more of police officers living in the jurisdictions in which they serve. So there are a variety of different issues that we try to deal with.
We look forward quite candidly to moving things forward to make both community policing and responsibility to the community much more transparent than it's been in the past, and that hopefully that there will be some training components to that to make sure that when the public safety officers enter the community, all precautions are taken not only for the community members but also for members of the police department.
And the work group, which spent 6 months reviewing policing in Maryland, was formed in the wake of unrest in Baltimore related to the death of Freddie Gray.
Well, some faith leaders are joining the growing chorus of people backing legislation to require employers in the state to pay workers for time off when they are ill. Christian and Jewish clergy are calling on lawmakers in Annapolis to support the sick leave bills during the upcoming session. The measures from Senator Catherine Pugh and Delegate Luke Clippinger would mandate that businesses with 10 or more employees provide 1 hour of paid sick leave for every 30 hours of work.
And tonight, millions across the nation expected to tune in as President Barack Obama delivers his final State of the Union address. The president will speak before members of both sides of the aisle. In a YouTube video posted by the White House, the president says he's optimistic about the year ahead. After the debate, South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley will give the Republican Party's response to the speech. Now, Congressman Steny Hoyer will be attending the president's across address with Wenlyn Chestnut. Now, she is the widow of law enforcement officer Jacob Chestnut, who lost his life in the line of duty 17 years ago when a gunman with mental illness opened fire at the Capitol building. The State of the Union address begins tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Denise Douglas.